The jungle was alive in a way no machine could replicate. A suffocating chorus of insects, birds, and distant growls wrapped around Captain Maya Reyes like a living shroud. Her boots sank into the damp earth, mud clinging stubbornly to the reinforced soles of her tactical gear. The canopy above was a tangle of emerald shadows and sunbeams, the air thick with humidity and the scent of decay. This was Earth's last wild frontier, untamed, unforgiving, and fiercely defended. Maya paused, scanning the dense undergrowth with eyes sharpened by years of training and instinct. Around her, the members of the Vipers, Earth's elite Special Forces jungle unit, moved silently, blending with the foliage like ghosts. Each soldier carried a blend of old-world survival tools and cutting-edge tech: plasma rifles modified for silent operation, biomonitors camouflaged beneath their sleeves, and hand-carved survival knives hanging from their belts. "Position secure," whispered Lieutenant Jean, crouching beside her. His gaze flicked to the rustling shadows. "No sign of scouts yet." Maya nodded. "Keep alert. They're arrogant. They'll come unprepared, thinking the jungle is just a relic." She glanced at the holographic map projected briefly from her wrist, red dots marking the distant approach of Galactic Federation ships. "They don't know what this place hides." A low hum echoed through the treetops. The alien vessels, sleek and silver, sliced through Earth's atmosphere without fanfare. Their presence was a sharp contrast to the ancient wilderness below. From orbit to forest floor, technology reigned above, but here on Earth, nature held its ground. Maya's mind flicked to the briefing she'd had hours earlier in the government command center, a sterile room far removed from the jungle's chaos. Earth's leaders had been cautious, optimistic even, but dismissive of the scale of threat. The Galactic Federation saw humanity as a curiosity at best, a primitive species unworthy of serious consideration. "Captain Reyes," the political liaison had said, tapping data on a screen, "your special forces will slow them down, maybe cause a few surprises. But don't expect a miracle. This isn't your fight alone. Reinforcements are coming." Maya had held her tongue. She knew better. The jungle was their greatest weapon, and their only hope. She also knew the weight she carried. Years ago, a failed mission had cost the lives of comrades. She would not let that happen again. "Captain," whispered Sergeant Lila, breaking the moment. "Sensors picked up movement near the northern ridge." Maya's gaze hardened. "Set the perimeter. Jean, call in the drone scouts. We're not letting them get comfortable." The Vipers melted into the foliage, eyes sharp, hearts steady. The jungle was no place for blunders. One mistake could mean death, not just from enemy fire but from venomous snakes, quicksand, and unseen traps. Suddenly, a faint crack, then several, echoed nearby. Maya signaled to halt. From the shadows, humanoid shapes emerged, tall and lean, their skin a dull gray-green that shimmered unnaturally. The Galactic Federation scouts. Their armor was lightweight, designed for mobility but lacking any camouflage to match the jungle's chaos. One scout raised a scanner. A soft beep betrayed its position. "Engage," Maya ordered quietly. The firefight erupted, silent plasma bolts weaving through leaves, explosions muffled by thick vegetation. The Vipers disappeared into the jungle's embrace, striking from unexpected angles. Alien tech was formidable, but in the jungle, it was handicapped. The Vipers knew every root and vine. They moved through the green maze like shadows, unseen and deadly. "Reyes, 2 down, 1 retreating." Jin's voice crackled through comms. Maya's fingers tightened around her rifle. "Push forward. Don't let them regroup." The skirmish was brief but brutal. The Galactic Scouts, trained for open-field assaults, faltered in the dense underbrush. Their drones were easily disabled by the thick canopy, and their sensors confused by the jungle's natural interference. "Captain, I'm picking up more movement. Larger forces inbound," Lila warned. Maya's heart quickened. This was no longer a simple scouting party. The invasion had begun. "Hold your ground," she commanded. "Use the terrain. Draw them in. The jungle fights with us." Later, in a quiet clearing, the Vipers regrouped. Sweat and grime-streaked faces. Eyes shone with a mixture of adrenaline and determination. "We're not just soldiers," Maya told them, voice steady but fierce. "We're guardians of this land. These trees, these rivers, they're part of us. The Federation thinks technology wins wars. They've never faced a force that can turn the Earth itself against them." Her words hung in the humid air, met with nods and murmurs of agreement. Nearby, a small data pad crackled to life. Maya tapped it, intercepting a transmission between galactic command ships. Asterisk. Human resistance negligible. Terrain primitive. Proceed with conventional assault. Asterisk. She clenched her jaw. They didn't understand. That was their mistake. "Captain." Jean approached, concern shadowing his features. "If they bring heavy weapons into the jungle, we could lose this ground." Maya met his gaze, calm but unyielding. "Then we adapt. We survive. The jungle has taught us patience and pain. We'll use every lesson." She glanced toward the horizon where the first glow of alien fire lit the night. The battle for Earth's wilderness had begun, not with a roar, but with the whisper of leaves stirred by unseen footsteps. As the team prepared for the long fight ahead, Maya allowed herself a brief, silent vow: this time, no one would fall alone. The jungle seemed to close in tighter after the first shots were fired. The distant thrum of alien engines was muffled by the dense foliage, but it was enough to remind Captain Maya Reyes that the Galactic Federation's real assault was only just beginning. Her unit, the Vipers, was small but deadly, trained to use the jungle's unforgiving terrain as both shield and sword. "Eyes sharp," Maya whispered through the comlink, her voice barely more than a breath. "They're testing us." The forest floor was a tapestry of shadows and broken light. Each step carried the risk of snapping a twig or disturbing a camouflage trap. Every rustle, every scent was a potential threat, or an opportunity. Lieutenant Jean moved ahead, his silhouette barely visible against the giant ferns. "Scouts moving at 10 o'clock. Low profile, but they're organized." Maya nodded. "Hold. Wait for my signal." The Vipers melted into their assigned positions, faces painted in mottled greens and browns, eyes sharp. Their weapons, usually roaring with lethal energy, were adjusted for silence, a necessity in this deadly game of cat and mouse. Suddenly, a faint shimmer flickered near a cluster of vines. The Galactic Scouts were attempting a flanking maneuver, using their tech to detect movement through thermal scans. But the jungle played tricks. The air was thick, wet, and unstable, disrupting the sensors and confusing the invaders. "No!" Maya hissed. From their concealment, the Vipers struck. Plasma bolts sizzled quietly, striking down the first scout before he could react. Others dove for cover, but the jungle was no friend to the bulky alien armor. Slippery roots, thorny bushes, and hidden pits slowed their retreat. "Contact front!" Jean reported. "Taking fire!" Maya sprinted through the underbrush, heart pounding but mind focused. She reached Jean just in time to pull him out of the path of a plasma burst. The blast singed a nearby tree, sending shards of bark raining down. "Keep moving!" she barked. "Don't get pinned!" They ducked behind a massive root system, exchanging fire with the aliens who pressed forward cautiously. The firefight was a clash of two worlds: alien technology designed for precision and overwhelming firepower against human adaptability and intimate knowledge of the terrain. The Vipers were nimble, weaving through the forest with practiced grace, using hand signals and silent commands to coordinate. Sergeant Lila, perched high in a tree, provided Overwatch with a modified sniper rifle that fired silent darts, enough to incapacitate but not kill, keeping the aliens disoriented. "Two down, one fleeing east," she reported. "No sign of reinforcements yet." Maya's mind raced. Every kill bought time, but the Federation was relentless. Their numbers were greater, their ships capable of dropping heavier forces in minutes. "We need to buy more time," she muttered. "Pull them deeper." A sudden movement caught her eye, a flash of silver slipping between the trees. A drone, sleek and humming softly, scanned the area with piercing blue light. Drone inbound! Jean shouted. Maya activated a device from her belt, a small EMP emitter. She aimed carefully, releasing a pulse that disrupted the drone's circuits. It faltered, crashing into the undergrowth with a spark and a hiss. Nice shot! Jean grinned despite the tension. But there was no time to celebrate. Captain! Lila's voice came urgent. Sensors picking up a larger group moving down the river path. They're bringing heavy weapons. Maya's jaw tightened. That's our cue. Fall back in formation. We'll force them through the swampy lowlands. The jungle was unforgiving, but it had allies. The mud was thick and deep, the waters teeming with creatures lethal to both alien and human. Maya planned to turn these natural hazards into a killing field. As they retreated, the invaders pressed their advantage, deploying mechanized infantry with armored exoskeletons and energy shields. The Viper's guerrilla tactics slowed them, but the aliens adapted quickly. A massive walker stomped through the trees, crushing saplings beneath its weight, sending shockwaves that rattled the very ground. Its weapons fired sweeping bursts, scorching the earth. Keep low! Maya shouted. The Vipers scattered, diving into hollows and behind boulders. Maya felt the heat of plasma blasts near her ear. We can't outrun them, Jean said grimly. We need a plan. Maya scanned the swamp ahead. The terrain was treacherous, pockets of quicksand, hidden roots, and murky water concealing deadly predators. We don't outrun, she said. We outsmart. Lead them into the swamp. The jungle will slow them down. It was a gamble, but the only option. The Vipers moved quickly, weaving between trees and stepping carefully on solid ground. The Federation forces, heavy and cumbersome, struggled to keep pace. Some walkers became stuck, their bulky legs swallowed by the muck. Ambush positions, Maya commanded. Prepare traps. Using vines, sharpened stakes, and their limited tech, the Vipers rigged the area. When the Federation advanced, their forces were funneled into narrow channels, vulnerable to attack. Fire! Maya ordered. The jungle exploded with silent violence. Plasma bolts rained down on trapped walkers, collapsing them with metallic groans. Alien infantry stumbled into pits camouflaged by leaves, falling prey to hidden spikes and venomous wildlife summoned by human handlers. Amid the chaos, Maya spotted one of her team struggling. Private Sam had sunk ankle-deep into quicksand, panic flickering in his eyes. Hold still! She called, rushing over. Using a length of sturdy vine, Maya pulled him free. The rescue was swift but perilous. Thanks, Captain, Sam gasped, breath heavy. Thought I was done for. Stay focused, Maya said firmly. We're not finished yet. The battle dragged on, and casualties mounted on both sides. The Vipers took hits, but every sacrifice was a lesson etched into their strategy. Later, gathered beneath a canopy of massive trees, Maya addressed her squad. We made them bleed, she said. But the Federation will come back stronger. Their arrogance blinds them. They think this is a simple conquest. Sergeant Lila spoke up, wiping grime from her face. They don't understand the jungle's language. Every plant, every insect is a weapon if you know how to use it. Maya nodded. Exactly. This land is our shield and our sword. We fight not just with guns, but with patience, knowledge, and resolve. The distant rumble of alien engines reminded them that this war was far from over. But the Vipers had proven one thing: Earth's wilderness was not a weakness. It was humanity's greatest advantage. As the night thickened around them, Maya allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. The jungle had tested her limits, and in turn, she had learned to trust its deadly embrace. We survive, she whispered, because we are part of this earth. The jungle was no longer just a backdrop, it had become a battlefield molded by human will and nature's raw power. Captain Maya Reyes stood amidst the dense greenery, eyes scanning the horizon where alien walkers lumbered through the undergrowth, disrupting centuries-old roots and leaves. The invaders had escalated, bringing heavy mechanized units and aerial support, but the Vipers were ready to meet force with cunning. Walker sighted 200 meters east, Jin's voice crackled through Maya's calm. They're pushing hard. Maya tightened her grip on her rifle. Hold position. Let them come to us. The sound of pounding metal echoed as a colossal Federation walker smashed through a thicket, its armor gleaming cold under the filtered sunlight. With each step, it shattered the fragile ecosystem beneath, triggering a chain reaction of snapping branches and startled animals. Sergeant Lila, perched high in the canopy, watched through her scope. They're vulnerable on their joints. Target the hydraulic servos. Maya smiled grimly. Good. Focus fire there. The Vipers executed a coordinated ambush, darting from shadows to strike the massive machine's weak points. The walkers, though heavily armored, struggled with the swampy terrain and the intricate network of roots. Explosions rocked the forest, sending clouds of dirt and leaves into the humid air. But the Federation adapted quickly. Drones buzzed overhead, scanning for targets and deploying countermeasures. Plasma turrets locked on the Vipers' positions, forcing Maya's squad to constantly shift and evade. We can't keep this up forever, Jean warned. They're closing in. Maya's eyes narrowed. Then we changed the battlefield. Pulling a handheld device from her vest, she initiated a localized biohazard release, a cocktail of native toxins engineered from jungle plants. The plan was risky. It could affect friend and foe alike, but Maya knew the jungle's ecosystem better than anyone. Deploying traps, she ordered. Spread out and lure them in. The Vipers scattered like shadows weaving through the foliage. The Federation's heavy forces, slower and bulkier, stumbled into concealed pits filled with paralytic spores and biting insects that emerged like living grenades. The jungle retaliated fiercely. Private Sam, newly recovered from his quicksand incident, moved cautiously but with growing confidence. Maya noticed the change. The young soldier's fear had morphed into resolve. Sam, flank left, Maya directed. You're clear to take out that turret. Understood, Captain? He disappeared into the brush, a silent arrow. Suddenly, Maya heard a burst of fire. Sam's voice came over the comm, strained but determined. Turret down. Taking heavy fire, need support. Hold tight, Maya responded, signaling Jean to assist. We're coming. They converged, weaving between trees and dodging plasma blasts. The alien soldiers were relentless, but the jungle's confusion was their enemy. Roots snagged armor joints, thick vines wrapped like serpents around mechanical limbs. As Maya reached Sam, she noticed a wounded enemy soldier collapsing nearby. The alien's armor was cracked, revealing a face drawn with pain and fear, the first glimpse of vulnerability beneath the Federation's cold exterior. Leave him, Jean said sharply. We don't have time. Maya hesitated, then shook her head. No. This war isn't just about killing. She knelt beside the alien, searching for signs of communication. The soldier weakly extended a data chip. Intel? Maya asked. The alien nodded faintly. Back at camp, Maya inserted the chip into her terminal. Holographic schematics of the Federation's planned assault illuminated the room. They intended to overwhelm the jungle defenses with sustained bombardment, targeting the heart of the wilderness. This changes everything, Maya said. They plan to burn the jungle to the ground. The room fell silent. The stakes had escalated from survival to preservation, not just of Earth, but its very soul. We need a counterstrike, Jean said. Hit their command center before they launch the bombardment. Maya nodded. It's risky. Deep in enemy territory. But if we don't act, the jungle dies, and with it us, Lila added. The decision was unanimous. Over the next hours, the Vipers prepared. Maya reviewed the mission details, knowing the terrain and enemy tech would test them to their limits. They would rely on stealth, speed, and intimate knowledge of the jungle. Remember, Maya addressed the team. This isn't just about combat. It's about understanding the environment, using it to our advantage. We're the jungle's children. The night before the mission, Maya found a moment alone by a small stream. The water flowed cold and clear, a stark contrast to the turmoil around her. She reflected on her journey, The past failures that haunted her, the weight of command, and the hope that drove her forward. "Captain?" A soft voice interrupted. It was Sam, quieter now, standing at the edge of the clearing. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded, eyes steady. "I'm ready. Thanks for believing in me." Maya smiled. "That's what counts." At dawn, the Vipers moved out. The jungle embraced them, shadows shifting as they slipped through hidden paths and thick vines. The air was tense, every sound amplified in the quiet. Ahead, the Federation Command Center loomed, a cold fortress of metal and glass, alien and intrusive. Maya's team took cover in the undergrowth, eyes sharp, breath steady. "On my mark," Maya whispered. The assault was precise. The Vipers used every trick, silent takedowns, hacking enemy comms, and sabotaging power supplies. The jungle aided them, branches snapping to mask movement, swarms of insects distracting guards. Inside the command hub, Maya confronted the sterile heart of the invasion. Security drones whirred, but she outmaneuvered them, reaching the control core. "Downloading now," she murmured, fingers flying over the console. Alarms blared. The Federation troops flooded in. "Hold the line!" Maya commanded over comms. A fierce firefight erupted. The jungle's chaos echoed inside the alien structure, glass shattered, machines sparked. The Vipers fought with desperation and skill. Finally, the download completed. Maya triggered an electromagnetic pulse, crippling the command center's systems. "Retreat!" she ordered. The jungle seemed to welcome them back, shadows swallowing their escape. Behind them, the Federation's plans lay in ruins. Back at camp, Maya gathered her team. "We've dealt a blow, but the war's not over," she said. Jean added, "They'll adapt. We have to be ready." Maya looked around at her squad, scarred but unbroken. "This jungle is more than trees and mud," she said softly. "It's a living fortress. And we are its defenders." As night fell, the forest pulsed with renewed life, a reminder that even in the darkest battles, nature and humanity could endure. Dawn filtered through the dense canopy, casting fractured light across the moss-covered floor. Captain Maya Reyes stood at the edge of the jungle's heart, where ancient trees twisted toward the sky and roots formed natural barricades. Ahead lay the Galactic Federation's command outpost, an alien fortress disrupting Earth's oldest wilderness. Today would decide the fate of the jungle, and perhaps, humanity itself. "Team, listen up!" Maya's voice cut through the morning stillness. "This mission requires precision and silence. We move like shadows, strike hard, and vanish before they know what hit them." Her squad, worn but resolute, gathered close. Every member carried the scars of previous battles but bore an unyielding determination. Private Sam adjusted his gear, eyes bright with newfound confidence. "We take out their command node," Maya continued. "Disable their tech, disrupt their chains of command. Without control, their forces will falter." Lieutenant Jean studied a holographic map projected from Maya's wrist. "The outpost is heavily fortified, surrounded by energy shields and drone patrols. We exploit the jungle," Maya replied. "The enemy relies on tech and firepower. We'll use their dependence against them." The approach was treacherous. Vines hung like silent sentinels, and every step risked triggering alarms or ambushes. The Vipers moved with practiced stealth, dissolving into the forest's folds, their movements synchronized and efficient. "Patrol ahead," Jean whispered. "2 drones scanning southeast." "Spread out," Maya ordered. "Lila, disable those drones." From her perch high above, Lila released a precise EMP pulse, and the drones spiraled down like fallen stars. The path cleared, but tension remained thick. As they neared the outpost, the jungle seemed to hold its breath. The air was heavy with anticipation and danger. Maya led the team into a narrow ravine, where roots intertwined with metallic debris discarded from earlier skirmishes. The fusion of nature and technology was stark, symbols of the war's collision. "Command center is just beyond this ridge," Jean said. "2 guards at the entrance. Snipers, cover me." Maya said, pulling a compact silenced pistol. She moved forward with lethal grace. In moments, the guards fell silently, their bodies hidden beneath ferns and leaves. No alarms sounded. Inside, the outpost was a cold, sterile maze of corridors and consoles. Maya's fingers danced over control panels, bypassing security protocols while the teams secured the perimeter. Downloading command data, Maya murmured, sweat beading on her brow. Suddenly, alarms blared, harsh and relentless. "They found us!" Jean shouted. From the corridors came the clatter of armored footsteps. Alien soldiers poured in, weapons drawn. "Hold your positions!" Maya commanded. The Vipers took cover, exchanging bursts of fire in the cramped space. Maya ducked behind a console, feeling the heat of plasma shots sear nearby. The fight was brutal, close quarters, unforgiving. "Captain, the download is almost complete!" Lila called out from her station. "Cover her!" Maya yelled, returning fire. In the chaos, Maya caught sight of a familiar figure, Admiral Kartek, the invaders' arrogant commander. His eyes locked with hers across the smoke-filled room. "Human stubbornness is futile," he sneered. "You fight nature with stones while we wield stars. Nature's stones are sharper than your stars." Maya shot back, sliding behind cover as a plasma burst shattered the wall beside her. The room trembled as the download completed. Maya triggered an emergency override, releasing a pulse that crippled the outpost systems. "Retreat!" she ordered. The Vipers pulled back through twisting corridors and shadowed stairwells, the jungle sounds rising like a protective chorus beyond the metal walls. Outside, the battlefield had shifted. The Federation's forces, deprived of coordination, faltered amidst the jungle's deadly embrace. Traps previously set by the Vipers caught the enemy in webs of roots and poisoned spikes. Walkers became ensnared in mud, their heavy steps dragging them deeper into the Earth's hungry grasp. From her vantage point in the trees, Lila relayed reports. "Enemy units retreating. Morale breaking." Maya breathed deeply, feeling the pulse of the forest through the soles of her boots. This land was alive, not just trees and vines, but a force to reckon with. Back at camp, the Vipers regrouped under the starlit sky, weary but victorious. "We did it," Sam whispered, disbelief and relief mixing in his tone. Maya looked over her team, pride swelling quietly beneath exhaustion. "This was more than a battle," she said softly. "It was a declaration. Earth is not just a planet. It is a living fortress, defended by its people." Lieutenant Jean nodded. "They underestimated us, the jungle, and our will. And that's their greatest mistake," Maya added. "The galaxy will remember Earth, not for its technology, but for its spirit." In the silence that followed, the jungle seemed to hum with life, renewed, resilient, and untamed. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Against overwhelming odds, humanity had not just survived, it had thrived. The war was far from over, but tonight Earth had won.